All right, my friends, we're on to project 3, and this is a fun, playful, easy peasy one. I am just going to create some square pattern on my journal page with my collage papers. Now I have vintage wallpapers, and I have all of the papers that I created from our very first video this week, with stencils and the color squares. And they are perfect for this project. They're perfect for so many projects. That's why I love creating those pages like that, just on regular copy paper. So if you haven't seen that video, head on back to the first video, and that link will be down below in the YouTube description box. But I am just going to go all the way around in a square, alternating my colors, and not thinking too hard about it, but like I'll put one color on one side and then I'll take that same color and put it on the other side. And I'll work my way all the way around. And this part of the video, I've been doing all of my videos in real time. I've sped this up just a bit and kind of cut it so that it's a little bit of a process to put all these papers down. So it could get a little boring. So I sped it up just a little bit, and then the rest of the video will be in real time. But I'm going to put all of these papers down with my fluid matte medium. So I've got all of my papers down, and I've got this fantastic polka dot one that I did that I thought would be perfect for the middle for my little birdie. And I wanted something that was going to really stand out and that would contrast with my bird. And so I needed to make sure that my bird was going to be different colors than green and pink, which I was pretty sure that it was. So I've got all my papers down, my page is dry, and now I'm just coming back with a little bit of watered down gesso. And I just want to push just a tiny bit of it back so it's not quite so bright. But I didn't want to take too much away because it's so much fun. But I knew that I was going to be putting a branch across that area. And so I wanted to push that area back just a tiny bit so that I could get the branch to kind of show up and show off and support the focal point and attach itself to the focal point, which is our bird. And so I brought that from one side all the way over to the other, and then got that dry and came back with my Stabilo All pencil. And Stabilo All is just great fun for just a very natural, organic look. And I want you to notice as I'm holding my pencil and kind of drawing out my branch here, I'm not being particular at all. And I'm holding it way back at the end of the pencil, and I'm twirling my pencil as I draw. And what that does is it gives me a very uneven, inconsistent line, which is what you would see in a branch. And I want that to be real natural, flowy, organic looking, and not perfect, because this page is fun and kind of haphazard and just a fun page. And so I want this to be very natural. So now that I've got my branch drawn out, I'm going to come back in with a large watercolor brush, and just kind of with that wet water on my brush, I'll activate that Stabilo All pencil. Keep in mind that a Stabilo All pencil is not permanent. It's water soluble, so it needs to be one of your top layers. And when you go to seal it, you'll need to spray it with a matte varnish or something like that before you put a final seal on, if you do that for your journal pages. I do not. So now that I've got my branch activated and I'm going to let it dry, I'm going to stencil out my little bird in some black gesso onto just a regular piece of copy paper. And I wanted to do it this way because, one, the focal point is right smack in the center of my page, and so I've got that fold. And two, if I don't like the design of my bird and my colors and my paints and all those things, I can just stencil out another one and redo it. There's no risk here. So I can play and be as free as I want, coloring in my bird. And if I like it, great. And if I don't, then I can make another one. And I'm doing the techniques, the short strokes, following the lines of the stencil to paint in my bird. And I did that example. I went into pretty good detail in the very first video, the prep video that I did for this week's projects. So again, that link will be down below in the YouTube description box. But I'm using some Prussian blue and some Payne's gray on my little bird, and some gesso, and I'm just changing the value of those colors, a little lighter and a little darker. I'll add a little bit of black in there somewhere to kind of darken that down. But I'm using short strokes that will mimic the idea of feathers. Now, we're not getting particular about this. This is fun and playful, and so I want it to be that. I don't want to spend too much time and get too hung up on the perfection part of the bird, and just let it be what it is. I've got a little bit of quinacridone magenta because that is my favorite color, and I can make my bird whatever color I want, and I wanted it to be playful. So I'm going to plop in a little bit of magenta there on the wing, and again I'm following the lines of the stencil to mimic feathers. Added a little bit of gesso to that, and it's already become playful and fun. A little bit of prism violet out there. And that violet doesn't show up much until I get a little bit of gesso in there. It shows up great on my magenta though. Filling in the other parts with my Prussian blue. And I'm mixing now some magenta and Prussian blue to get more of a bluer purple instead of a muted purple. And it doesn't really show too much as I get it put down because my underpainting is black, and that's okay. But once it dries, it looks great. Fun and playful, and I knew I was going to embellish it a little bit more once I got it down. Got a little bit of matte gel down because now that this has got some paint and I'm working in the crack of the journal page, I needed a little bit of extra strength to put that down, so that's why I've got my matte gel out. Got that dry, and now I'm just going to take one of the new flower stencils and use the buds or the flower blooms and have those be kind of like a cherry blossom almost on my branch. It can be whatever, but this is make-believe, and we're just having fun, so we can do whatever we want. But these, I thought these were perfect for the branches. I'm using gesso and I've got a little bit of magenta in there. And I'm going to beef up that white just a little bit with some gesso on my brush and give it some movement so it doesn't look so flat. Little bit of magenta with some gesso in it for some highlights. And I've taken a little bit of Payne's Gray into my gesso to just give a little bit of depth to the flowers, not a ton. Now that that's dry, I'm going to come back with my Posca pen and add some details in the middle of the flowers. This is real fast, super easy. I'm not being particular or detailed at all. And I didn't want it to be with the nature of the page. Some more dots and more embellishments with my Posca pens. And as I'm bringing the colors into the flowers and to the bird, I'm thinking about the colors that are already on the page so that we can kind of balance it out and have it feel like it's part of the page and integrated into the page. Got that dry, got my pens dry so that I could get in there and do some shading with my General's charcoal pencil. I'm not going to do a ton, but I did want to add a little bit of weight to my bird and have it feel grounded with my shading. Adding just a little few scratchy lines to my branch with my charcoal pencil, and then a few little sketchy leaves at the end. And once I get the black around those flowers, they start to pop. And that's why I love my charcoal pencil, because I can bring anything out. And I'm not doing a ton of shading, I'm just doing some light sketching around each of the petals. And then I feel like the black dots just really really draw the eye to the flowers and around. Little light in the eye of my chickadee, my bird, I should say. And just a couple of little highlights. That low light and highlight really make a difference. I'm going to add a little bit of lines around the center. Again, I'm drawing the eye in, adding some weight to the focal point, because there's a lot going on this page. I'm going to shade around my edges and see what else it needs. It always helps me see if there's some other thing that I might need. Always need that light and that dark for contrast. And so I felt like it needed some dark, just in a couple of spots. And so I wanted to messily add some pattern, and as soon as that was on there, it was like, yes. I'm going to add my final little bits here and there, some dots, dashes, and other little things. And that is it for our project 3, our third project for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Check out all the videos. The links to those videos will be down below in the YouTube description box. And now my word, play, which is exactly what we did. I started to use my finger and I thought, no, I want this to be a clean image. So I stenciled it out and loved the placement of it. I placed it next to my focal point so that it's not distracting. All right, my loves, that is it. I will see you tomorrow.